Welcome back to your favorite show on the planet Earth, the Christian Music Bros podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Brendan. And I was going to say, my name is Braden, but Braden's no longer on the channel. I do miss Braden at points, but it's fun just to talk to these people, have a conversation, run things solo. Braden's doing well, if you're wondering. He's busy working, spending time with his girlfriend, and doing life things. Like, we all do life things, but it's fun just to see what's in the loop. He says hello. He told me to wish everyone who's listening to this page a hello. Just a reminder, this is now like episode 125 at the time of recording this or something. We are almost done with February at the time of recording this. Like I said, if I post this last episode I just did with Jake Rye today at the time of recording this, this might be the last episode I'm recording till the end of April, just because I have 8 episodes I haven't posted yet. But don't worry, you'll get new content from me, and it's great to see you guys back here. Remember, if you like what you're listening to, like, follow, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, thanks for tuning in today. Today I'm with Joshua Leventhal, so I'm going to let Joshua introduce himself right now.
Yeah, so my name is Joshua Leventhal. I am a singer-songwriter in the Christian space, based outside of Vancouver, BC, Canada. I'm American born, but have spent most of my life, the vast majority of my life in Canada. And yeah, I've been doing music professionally for, gosh, over 10 years now. But have up until now been doing both ministry full time and releasing music since 2017. And am actually just in the process now of going full time with music and no longer trying to balance both.
That's very exciting and great to see someone from Canada. Like you said, you were born in America, and it's just cool to see that you moved to Canada because I feel like Canada doesn't get as much respect as they can in the music scene outside of Justin Bieber.
Yeah, we have like I mean I think on the high level we have yeah, a lot of artists who have come out of here, but they most of them move stateside, obviously. So there is
Mhm.
a Canadian Christian scene for sure. But we're a big country that's not super populated, so we're pretty scattered all over the place.
And this is just a little fun fact. You're the second artist that I've had that's been on this podcast that lives in Canada, so it's pretty cool to see the second Canadian artist. So congratulations.
Nice. Who's your first?
Her name's Eleni.
Oh
Eleni.
yeah, I know Eleni. Yeah, totally.
I'm pronouncing their last again. I think she's from like Saskatchewan or whatever you pronounce it.
Saskatchewan. Yeah, that's I lived in Saskatchewan for a lot of my childhood and some of my adult life. My parents and sisters live there now.
So so you're the second. I was gonna say you're the first Canadian artist that I was like, oh wait. But Joshua, thank you for joining me today or this evening, whatever time it is you're watching.
Hmm.
Um, let's just start a little bit about your music background. How did you get started in music? Like, are you a pastor's kid growing up in the music scene, or did you just one day picked up a guitar and decided, oh, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I actually was a little bit late to music. I am a pastor's kid. But so grew up in church. Actually grew up like I always say, like I don't remember not knowing Jesus. Like for me, a lot of PK stories or like just Christian kid stories in general is like,
Mhm.
yeah, I grew up in a Christian home and then my faith really became my own like once I hit my teens or college or whatever. For me, like genuinely, like I my faith was always my own, even when I was very, very young. And
Mhm.
Obviously, that grew and deepened over time, but that has just always been the case. And I was kind of late to music. I actually didn't really get it. Like, I mean, I didn't mind singing in church and that kind of thing, not like from stage
Mhm.
in a congregation. Um, but I was not musical at all. My household wasn't musical. Sorry, my dog is running up here to to say hi. This is Luna. Um, she's getting crazy. Um, and so I did take piano lessons as a kid, but honestly, like hated it, didn't practice, didn't really have music that I had connected with personally. And then we moved from Saskatchewan to Alberta, which is one province west, once I hit high school and joined the youth group there. Had friends who introduced me to music I had never kind of heard before. I got really into first like rock and pop punk, and then eventually more into like the hardcore and heavy scene, but also while like listening to worship music and acoustic music and all those kind of things. And I picked up a guitar there and fell in love pretty quickly around 14. And because I was an angsty teenager, I immediately started writing songs. They were
Mhm.
all terrible, but I did it. Um, and very quickly it became like intrinsic, I think, to who I was. But what's kind of funny is I was late to music, but I was around music a decent amount. My dad is a pastor, but he's also growing up, he doesn't do this as much now, but he's a professional illusionist, and we would tour all over the US doing basically shows at conferences and churches and other venues and that kind of thing. And oftentimes we'd be on bills with big bands and that sort of stuff. So I was surrounded by it a lot, and a little bit of road life as well. And then yeah, as soon as I found music, it was kind of like a no-brainer. I'd always been really obsessed with like literature and film and narrative and story, and so I hadn't really found my outlet in that yet. And I feel like writing and
Mhm.
music instantly kind of became that.
I just because you're big on songwriting, who would you say is like one of your like couple of your song or like music inspirations for your writing?
For my writing personally. Like in the Christian space, people who've like definitely meant a lot to me have been guys like Macmillan, John Foreman,
Hmm.
even to an extent, I'd say like from back in the day, like Matt Thiessen from Reliant K. He was like, I mean, none of my music stylistically bears any resemblance
Exactly.
to that. But I think what I appreciated about him was just his phrasing and word choice just didn't seem governed by the same parameters as a lot of other people. He just kind of did whatever he felt like. And it felt super commanded and intentional, but it wasn't, it was extremely unique. So those guys have definitely all played a massive role, I would say, in a lot of my writing style.
It's really cool. And I don't write music, but like some of the song I like more at like the I'm more for the lyric person. I'm more of a lyric person when it comes to
Yeah.
music personally. Like
Yeah.
cool to have like cool good vocals or good guitar or excuse me, good piano mix and everything. But I think lyrics is where it draws everyone in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'd agree. I think like for me, lyrics are kind of at the forefront, and obviously I want the music to marry with that really well. But
mhm.
yeah, and like for me, I think in a lot of ways, I can't as a partaker of music do one or the other. Like if the music's good but the lyrics are terrible, I won't be able to engage with it, and vice versa. The lyrics can be great, but if the music doesn't feel like it's properly married to the lyrics, then I'm going to struggle as well. But one of the first things personally go to is lyricism for sure.
Yeah. And we flash forward in your music journey recently. You released a full-length album, All Ye Blackbirds. Can you tell us a little bit about that album?
Yeah. So like I said, I've been doing music while doing full-time ministry the whole time. So like it was very stop start for a long time. My first thing I ever released into the world was an EP back in 2017, and then a couple singles in the years that followed. And then I was working for a mega church for a few years, and when that happened, I basically had to put my music entirely on hold. But I was still writing in that time. And that's where most of All You Lepers came out of. I had released the song Lepers, kind of the title track, as a single. And it had just been a demo I recorded in my friend's basement. And I'd actually written the song in my parents' basement when I was like depressed and trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Essentially, I would like
Mhm.
at the threshold of ministry and music and was trying to figure that out. And I just had written a lot in that time, and Lepers was one of those songs. And just over the course of kind of the following years, and especially during COVID, a lot of yeah, songs kind of fell out of me for lack of a better word. And that led to All You Lepers. I've been fully indie this whole time, so we crowdfunded it, did it through Kickstarter, saw overwhelming support for that, and then released it fully independently, and it has been a pretty wild journey since then. I'd say like the songs are really focused a lot on the tension between hope and suffering and knowing who God is and lived experience and trying to just reconcile those things, and just be as honest as possible. I kind of try to like write the music that I've known I needed at times, and so the response has been insane. Like, it definitely catapulted my listenership for sure, and got some pretty significant award recognition here in Canada, which is cool. Our Gospel Music Awards, like our branch of the Dove
Mhm.
Awards, essentially. It won Album of the Year and Song of the Year, which was really sweet. Got nominated for a Juno, which is our Grammys. And but I think the thing that was the most meaningful and beautiful to me is like just literally hundreds of messages from strangers, people I've never met before, telling me that this was exactly what they needed to like know their God more and to like pray to him in the midst of hardship and that sort of thing. And I think that that is something that is kind of unique to writing music unto Jesus, is that we have the opportunity to share things that um, transcend just an emotional experience into like
Mhm.
this can actually like change my eyes. This can change the way that my heart sees the world and understands my God and communes with Him. So I've still never been able to put full words to that. It's just been the most beautiful thing. And so, yeah, that album came out a little while back, and I've released singles since then. And I'm now working on a pretty ambitious project um, going forward.
I just want to say I like your partner in crime right there next to you. That could.
Yeah, this is Luna. She's the best. My wife had her before we got married, and so I adopted her as her dog dad. So she's the best.
You see, I don't want my dog come in my room when I'm recording, or she'll be like wanting all the attention. So,
Yeah,
like, dogs are just the best. Flash forward to 2025. I mean, we're
yeah,
2 months in at the time of recording. We're almost into March in 2025.
yeah.
Do you have any new music or anything you're working on coming this year?
Totally. Yeah. So so over the course of this year, with the blessing of my church, I'm transitioning into music full time, and they've been overwhelmingly supportive in that. And my next project is actually going to be a multi-volume concept record that's going to come out over the course of several years. It's called Tapestry. And that's the Greek transliteration of the word tapestry, and it's basically a 25 song Genesis to Revelation concept record. So looking at the whole of the biblical narrative all through POV songs. So some will be from the perspective of Yahweh, God,
Mm.
some will be from this perspective of various figures throughout scripture. And trying to find unique ways of doing that. Things like, Abel's ghost speaking to Cain after he's already murdered him, and talking about the ministry of Jesus, like through the eyes of a Pharisee, somebody who hates him, and trying to make him look beautiful through that. And so that project is going to kind of unfold over the course of a few years. But we're recording volume 1 starting next week, actually. I'm
Mhm.
going out to Pender Island, which is a Gulf island off of the coast of BC. And so me and the guys I've been working with since All You Lepers will be tracking for volume 1, which will be 9 songs. And the first single's actually already been finished, and it's going to release sometime probably late spring, early summer. Um, and uh, and my single Kingdom, which came out in 2023, is actually going to be from the Jesus portion of that record as well. So yeah, all that is in the works right now. In addition, we recorded a live album as an anniversary show back, that would have been end of 2023. And we've been releasing videos from that on YouTube, but we're actually going to be releasing a number of songs to streaming platforms over the course of the next few months as well. So lots of music in the hopper and ready to unfold.
And with new music coming out, some artists have like a show or something coming out. Do you have any shows coming up for people to come support you at?
Yeah, so well, I'd say first off, the biggest thing to support is I'll be launching a Kickstarter for the first volume of the record pretty soon here. I've been able to stay indie, which has kind of allowed me to control my career, and for now I'm going to stay doing that, which has meant relying on community to kind of help make
Mhm.
it happen because it's really expensive. As far as shows go, one of the things I've done, my church is being incredibly generous in how they're helping me make this transition. Part of that is going to be for the first 6 months of this year, I'm not going to be doing any traveling. But after that, I'm planning a Western Canada tour. I'm already looking at some dates for the US down the line. And all that will be on my website. It will also be available if you subscribe. If you go to my website, there's a subscribe button, my mailing list, and all socials. I would just say just follow me on Instagram, but these days you just never know if people are actually going to see what you post anymore. So,
And uh, And when that Kickstarter comes out, feel free to send it my way. I'll post it in the
yeah,
description of this video because your Kickstarter probably will be live before this video even gets posted. So sorry if
yeah,
you're listening and like, I want to do the Kickstarter now. This is like I said, we're in like the end of February. Kickstarter probably will go live probably towards the end of spring. So
yeah, totally.
with everything. We just have a few extra minutes with you today. I like to give our guest the floor about to speak about. It could be any topic I missed about your music journey, anything you want to share about your music journey, message, a story, and so the floor is yours.
Yeah. I would just say that like I feel really fortunate that the thing I care most about, which is lyrics, which we've talked about, is the thing that people tend to bring up the most when they're talking about my music. Sonically, I have tried to be like as kind of unique to me as possible. I always say that like when you start writing music, when you start recording music, you tend to sound like your heroes, like whoever has influenced you tends to be kind of what you reflect into the world. And as you kind of develop your own voice and identity, that happens less and less.
Hmm.
And sonically, it used to be back in the day, it was a lot of like, oh, you sound like Need to Breathe, you sound like John Mayer, that kind of stuff. That was like the kind of what I was aiming for at the time. And these days, there's no real direct comparison sonically, which I appreciate. I think the closest thing I can do to describe my sound is like if Peter Gabriel and Bon Iver had a baby. Um, but then lyrically, like so I try to be unique in terms of sound, but lyrically, that's always been what I care about the most is just the poetry of it. And I think married with music, that's what matters. That's what allows it to be this kind of like holistic mind, heart, body, spirit experience. And have just felt really fortunate that that's tends to be what people zone in on. So that has been probably the most beautiful part of the journey. Like, I mean, now I'm kind of getting to a point in my career where the breadth of reach is significant, like getting to hear like see big numbers and hear stories from a lot of
Hmm.
places. But I think the depth has always been the thing that matters the most to me, which is like getting to hear from individuals and like I'm really grateful that people still like DM me. Like, it's like people don't just go, oh, he's got this many followers or that kind of thing. He won't listen to me. They still send me messages and I respond to every single one because um, it never gets old getting to hear. Like it just feels so sacred and humbling to know that something you've made is making a difference in somebody's life. So
And that's kind of like how we got it about you. So I'm just saying it works. But anyway, for those who are listening, make sure to check out Joshua's album. Check out the new albums when it comes out. Like slowly, it'll come out slowly but surely. You can follow his Instagram page for more updates, his YouTube channel, Spotify channels, everything. He's on everything.
I'm on
I
it.
should say everything. We're not on MySpace. At least I hope you're not on MySpace
I'm not on MySpace, not on
still.
LinkedIn. I technically have a Twitter account, but I never touch it.
Twitter
Yeah,
died like in the
Twitter's
end of
dead.
last year.
I'm concerned. I post about Severance on Threads. How about that?
I have not watched Severance yet, but I heard it's good.
You got to check it out. It's my wife and I's favorite active show right now. So
But Joshua, thank you again for joining me today.
thanks for
And
having me. Appreciate it.
you're welcome. And everyone who's watching, we'll see you next time on the Christian Music Rose podcast. And stay safe, everyone. And I don't post a or if I don't record a new episode till April, we'll see you back in April with new episodes. But you'll still have new episodes to watch. So enjoy, everybody.